Pepito, also known as Manyi, still rated a typhoon as that low-level center exits Luzon. In fact, here on satellite imagery, you can see the low-level center here just due west of Camden, just around Vegan there. Actually, the center passed right over your area and right over Baguio too. You're still looking at some gusty conditions, but thankfully, the mountains ripped this apart across central Luzon. But where we are still seeing some impacts, because the mountains really just haven't interacted with it, is some of these bandings on the backside of the storm. So even here on our Sunday evening, despite the low-level center being right in here, we're still seeing some heavy rainfall across parts of Cagayan, gusty conditions out there. Also, we have inflow down towards the south here on your Sunday evening, continuing to flare up for places like Pangasinan, down there around Subic along the west coast. You still could be looking at some pretty decent showers as our storm just kind of skirts off there towards the west and continues to move along here, but still where these has not been disrupted directly by the mountains, we continue to see some pretty decent impacts. So let's break down this storm system, where it has impacted. Yesterday, of course, we had Catanduanes, where it made landfall as a Cat 5 super typhoon. Then it intensified just a bit more. In fact, weakened, then intensified again, I should say, making landfall just north of Belair there in central Aurora, crossing across central Luzon and then exiting around La Union. Still, we have signal force warnings in place here across the northwestern Luzon. I'm not going to show it just because of the fact that those are going to gradually be reduced as this continues to pull away, and according to Pagasa, will continue to weaken out as it exits the Philippine area of responsibility, tracking just towards the south of Hong Kong, and then continue to taper off as it interacts with a cold surge coming in from the north. So here's a look actually as this went right up the landfall. Pressure was down to 935 hectopascals. See the pressure jumping up after it moved overland here up to 955. There's another look at that landfall and then just that eye collapsing as it runs over the mountains. The issue is, what I've been seeing from a lot of people is it ran over the mountains here, but a lot of that moisture got squeezed out. And that is resulted in some, of course, a lot of heavy rainfall. And I do think as we go on through our day here on Monday, we're going to start to see river level rises into the Pangasinan area, Manila, and across the Cagayan Valley, just because of the effects after this came on shore. A lot of that moisture, it's not going to flood all at once. It has to drain down, and it does have to build in. That's what we're going to be seeing here. But now, exiting off towards the north and west here on our Monday, still maintaining typhoon intensity, but it gradually will continue to weaken out as we head into Tuesday over towards Wednesday as it pulls off there towards the west. And here's another look with that still actually a high resolution guidance rate in here. Kind of shows you Monday morning we're still seeing that banding not being impacted by the mountains on the backside of it. Overnight, still seeing some rough weather into the Pangasinan, but it will gradually improve as our storm pulls away. Still isolated showers here on Monday, but in general, much drier conditions. And then we actually change our attention. You see the northerly winds building in here too, especially as we go through Tuesday and the Wednesday. So a northerly drier wind, but definitely brisk across northern Luzon. So heavy rainfall really has been the big issue with this. Remember, if you are in a low-lying flood-prone area, even away from where the heaviest of the precip took place, do remember if you have the upstream issue, that water level is going to start to flow downstream towards your location. So I'm talking about places like Apari, or even into the Metro Manila area, which was not impacted. We didn't expect big impacts in Manila, but yeah, you could start to see that water kind of run down to the rivers here. Here's a broader look at the total precipitable water vapor in the futurecast here, kind of showing you as our storm tapers off, that northeast monsoon starting to put in almost in a Mihan type setup. See generally northeasterly flow towards the southwest as well here on the waves, which of course brings in drier, big fat waves though across the West Philippine and East Philippine Sea, generally looking at about 1 to 3 meters. So definitely big swells taking place. If you're a surfer, especially on the East Coast, so our friends in Siargao, they're going to be looking at some pretty decent surf just due to that long fetch area on the backside of this storm system and the general weather pattern change with that northeasterly flow setting up through basically the early to mid part of this upcoming week. So here's a look at our flyover places like Davao. Actually, I just mentioned Siargao. Isolated afternoon showers, temperatures into the 70s. Tacloban, there 32 degrees. Cebu at 32. afternoon isolated showers possible, but I think in general you're going to be just dry out here. Same over towards Palawan. And then we kick off towards the north into Manila, 31 degrees across Pangasinan. I keep on saying it wrong. Pangasinan, 29 there for you. Baguio, 24, a little bit cooler in the higher elevations, but you're going to be generally drier by Monday afternoon. Morning, still looking at a little bit of rain, but afternoon and evening, the drier weather will be setting in. All right, big thanks for everybody on Patreon and supports this channel. We did a lot over the last month, 5 consecutive storms. It's going to be an interesting recap when I get around to it here, talking about all the impacts. If you got a story you want to tell, and maybe you want to share it with us in an interview, I would love to hear it, and maybe we could do something to get you into a Breezy Banter episode, or we can just talk and sneak it into a separate video on its own. If you have a story you want to tell and you want to share it to the world, maybe you are impacted hard and you really want to get information out there about your neighborhood and what impacted you, I would like to hear it, and I'm sure a lot of people that follow these updates want to hear it too, just because it's a real life story about all this stuff we've been talking about for some time now. But at least as we take a look at the extended forecast, things are drier. This not only for the Manila area, but even extending into this coming week. I don't see anything significant in the long-range forecast that'd be impacting the Philippines. Do want to note, though, money is going to push south of Hong Kong, even over towards Hainan. And with that said, you know, the storm's not over yet, so places like Hong Kong here on Tuesday and Wednesday are going to see an uptick in rainfall. I would be surprised if they go through their warning levels, signal force warnings, but definitely an uptick in that precip there. So make sure if you are in Hong Kong or anywhere in southern China, know that information from official sources. I don't think you're gonna have to evacuate. It's not that intense there, not like what we've seen in Cat and Nuanas, where, you know, they had Cat 5 damage. Also in Belair, I've seen some pretty insane video coming out of that area too. So a lot of impacts, guys, from the storm system, so I can't stress enough. I hope the information we shared here was helpful for a lot of you. I do hope that we get no casualties. I haven't seen any fatalities, especially coming out where this made landfall. Let's hope it stays that way. And yeah, let's hope it stays quiet for some time here. Yeah, it's been busy. So as always, thanks for watching, and I hope you stay safe out there, guys. All right. Bye.